Hello, everyone. It's Dawn and Tia. We are running a little bit late. We apologize for that. We have been MIA because of personal stuff the past couple of weeks, and we do apologize, but we do remember where we were. We were talking about characters and craft and stories and whatnot that we enjoy doing, just like the title of the episode, crafting characters and stories that we love. Let's see here. Can you can't hear my iPod, can you? Because I don't see it coming registering on my mic. I know that sounds like really off topic. I just kind of yeah.
Turn it off so you won't get baked.
Eh,
I mean, I can't hear it, but you know what happened last time to you. Oh, note to
yeah.
self, oh, y'all. Note to self. Even if you have your iPod in the background, really low, there's an AI out there that the copyright holders have, and they will find that little snippet that none of us can hear, except when they turn it up all the way, and then they'll get the sound.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened before.
Don't even do it. Don't even have it in the background.
Okay, now am I coming through okay on your end?
Yes.
Okay, because you sound a little crinkly on my end. Not 100% sure why. But
I mean,
huh?
I can't. I can only hear myself if I'm in the room. So I don't know.
Okay. But yeah, anyways. We are talking about okay. You want to start? Okay, because I was about to shoot a message to the macaroni heathen for them to see about checking in with the timing of the stream and everything.
Well, okay. So this is back. I will say that for everyone, earlier today, Dawn and I had a discussion. We were talking about craft, and I told her that I was listening to a voice actress read my book because I was listening to an audition because I'm trying to do an audiobook for y'all. And as I was listening to it and getting invested into the story, which is great, I realized as I was listening to it, the character was talking about the character Tristan Harbenheit and how her attraction must be the beard and how soft it was and some other stuff. And as I'm listening to it, very proud that the voice actress was able to convey the attraction that the character Ursula had for Tristan. I realized, oh crap, my husband's got a beard. And you're gonna go look at this and be like, oh, that's what it is. And all this kind of stuff. And I was sitting here thinking, is that what I was chanting? Or was it the character? And it's a question that we often get as authors is how much of our characters are real life and part of us. And I'm going to say, I have no idea whatsoever. None. None. I mean, yes, obviously I'm not a guy. Well, I don't think I'm a guy. So I'm going to go with no. And I don't have multiple personalities that would probably come across that way. So I'm a Gemini. There's so many things I have never done that my characters have done, but yet I still wrote their experience. And so it's just interesting when people ask that question, and then I'm sitting here hearing the experience that I wrote and thinking to myself, is that from real life? Or did I make that up? I'm not sure. And so, yeah, what about you, girl? Do you know? First off, what was the comment that you had? I want to know. Am I going to be ready?
Okay.
So no blush, I hope.
Okay,
Go
now,
ahead.
the macaroni heathen got back to me. Your audio is crunchy.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's like some
All I can do
static.
is there's some
Um, Hum?
I said there's some static.
Yeah, cause I'm missing out words that some of the words that you're saying. It's like because I know you, I can fill in the gaps, and I'm assuming that the people that are watching can also fill in the gaps, but it is pretty crunchy.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think I will see. I'll have to go and do a mic check to figure out what's happening. Figure out what mic am I using. The internal mic. I'll probably just go ahead and buy a dedicated mic that's not a part of something else.
Yeah.
Because I'm either using the camera mic right now or I'm using the laptop mic, and I think that's where it's going wrong. So
okay.
I will be right back.
Okay. Okay, she's gonna be right back. And let's see. Yeah, I did have a comment about when she and I we were talking, and she had mentioned how she was just shocked because her husband has a beard and her character Tristan has a beard, and she wanted to know, like, is this the real life or is this just fantasy, that sort of thing. And TB and I, we have known each other for way, 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 way too long, so that I was going to answer that question for her, but I figured that it would be best to do it here because it fell in with the topic of what our discussion tonight. And I'll wait for her to come back before I give her that answer. My answer is I do tend to mix some of my real life or some of the things that I see around me into my writing, but I also twist it enough so that it's like, okay, how would this person with this personality type respond to this situation? And that's pretty much where I try to come from. Um, whereas, let's say my character Augustina from my book Tempered, she was someone who was very combative. She was someone who went through a lot of trauma in her life, and she's always maintained the focus of everything I do to protect my sister. Well, I kind of have that same sort of personality kink. Well, not kink, but hang up, where I do a lot to look after my family. I wouldn't go through some of the lengths that she goes through, but that is where the line between fiction and reality is. Especially when you're writing in paranormal, you can have someone wielding a sword and using magic and whatnot and slaying demons and taking names and all that jazz, without worry about the repercussions. Whereas here, that's kind of frowned upon. Let's see. So yeah, it's but then I have other characters. My character, Sana, she is from the book that I just finished. It is up on pre-order right now, called Promised Eternity. She is someone who has gone through, again, she has gone through a lot, and she wants to become an idol. And she has personal hangups of how she wants her career to go. And so yeah, I take a couple of things from real life and I try to sprinkle them around and change the names to protect the innocent and whatnot. But This is a lot harder without her here. But yeah, it's one of those things where, and having real life integrated in your fiction is a little difficult because you have to, there are things that you have to dance around and water down and or amp up. There are certain situations um that may happen in real life that you would never want to put on page, and if there are things like that you find, then all the more reason to like stay away, run away, like the Monty Python rabbits.
How was this? Can you hear me better?
No,
Is it worse?
it's about the same.
Maybe I just need
It's about the same, and it's only when you speak, so it like starts lagging and the audio's crunchy and whatnot. I think she's about to switch to her phone. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, you don't want to unless you know of a way to water down a situation that especially in now I will say this. Funny situation when my family knows me, funny situations, they are fair game. You know, I on my Facebook all the time. I put convos in my house where it's a conversation between either myself or my macaroni heathen, which I call my doppelganger, or I will put it down, or it's a conversation between myself and my mother, who I call the maternal unit, or yeah, the hilarious conversations, those are fair game. But when it comes to deep, painful things, no, it's best to just stay away from those. Stay far, far away from those. You don't really want to, and this is something that, and I had a feeling you were going to go with the phone. And this was something that a lot of writers know, but a lot of new writers or readers don't really think through, is that you really don't want to put someone you know in a book. Not the way they're thinking. And it's like you don't want to put that whole person, and what I mean by that is you don't want to take their personality and their looks and everything like just short of their name and put it in there, because some people might not like the way that they might not like that mirror image. Well, some, depending on how you do it, some people might not.
Oh, I think you definitely get into some tricky territory that even if you're 100% accurate, that's not the time to find out you're really a jerk.
Yeah. Now, what I was about to say to you, because I didn't say it to everybody, I wanted to sit back and let you know, because you were surprised because Tristan had a beard and so does the love of your life.
I wasn't surprised he had a beard. I did that on purpose. I'm just talking about just the way she felt about it.
Uh-huh.
What?
And that was you.
And that was me.
Mm-hmm. You do that just enough. here's where I was talking about, folks, where I say be very, very careful about how you put someone in a book. If you go through all of her books,
Oh shoot. Really?
you can find at least one trait of her husband in every hero she has.
Okay, I can live with that then. I can live with that because that's reality. That's reality.
And in doing so, while she's writing these books, she will thirst for that. She will thirst for that hero. Not okay. All cards on the table. Thirst is a very strong word. Doesn't make it any less true.
What?
She's not as bad as, say, me when it comes to any K-pop star.
Wow.
But then again, that leaves a lot of room because I'm bad.
Wow.
But yes, she adores her heroes. She is like about her men folk because they all have some inkling of her husband in them.
Oh my.
Am I wrong?
I don't know. I'm about to go back and do an evaluation now. I'm about to go take stock and be like, what does Tristan have other than a beard?
His snarkiness.
Hush. Shut your mouth.
Nadir has working with his hands a little scruff and snarkiness.
So snarkiness is the thing I like to do.
That is the one qualifying theme, but you get it from your husband.
Is that where I get it from?
Uh-huh. Well, you about as crazy a cat anyway, so.
Oh well.
Jackson has his caring nature. The nature that he wants to look after and protect and be the best that he can be for you, for Edward and whatnot and their story. And he's snarky.
Jackson in my husband's youth. Okay, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it could be worse. It could be worse. I could write completely opposite of what I have, which would probably be a certain amount of stress there. Be like, oh no, I want this, and I've got this. Boo.
I wanted the grizzly and I got the panda. But yeah. Me, like I said last time, I go with like personality types. I try to vary it up a little bit. Because at this point I have no significant other. So yeah, I don't have anything to feed that monster so much.
Right.
So I sit back and I'll take context clues from those around me. Where I'll sit back and I'll be like, okay, well, this guy has this personality type. I know this person that has this kind of personality type. How would they react to this? And
okay, cool. Like context clues. What?
You know, sit back and study people that way.
You know what? I do that too. Matter of fact, what I find is happening as I try to vary up my customers, my characters, which are kind of like customers. One of the things that I am noticing is I sometimes I feel like I have only like one or two characters in me, and I'm trying to make sure I vary that up. It's just weird. I feel that way, but I don't know if that's necessarily true.
It's not true. You got a whole lot more people in you than you think.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, like I said, I get concerned about that because I know I definitely got the awkward rambler. I got that. And then there's the salty paws person, just salty all the time. And then maybe somebody in between. I don't know. That's what I feel like I got. The rambler and the salty paws.
Well, see, then you vary it up for 4 different reasons, because you have Oliver was not a salty paws.
No, he wasn't. He was my consummate professional. He was, yeah, I will. Okay, so you're right, because Oliver was not like Tristan. I mean, they had some similarities, but Tristan was, like you said, snarky. Oliver was very restrained and all about dismantling an issue way before it gets escalated into a thing. So I almost want to say he's constant manipulation of some sort. Well, it wasn't like it was bad manipulation. It was good. I think it's a good thing if you're feeling down about yourself and someone basically got you to realize that you're a badass. I mean, I can get over that. That type of manipulation. He made me feel good about myself. And so now I go out there and try harder.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, really? I think we all can use more of that.
Some people can. Some people sit there and I know I'm one to be like fussing and mumbling the entire way. And you know I would be too.
Mm-hmm.
I've done it.
Like like the cartoons.
Yeah.
No. Crumble.
I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to do this. Making me do this. Giving it anyway. I don't like you.
I got growth opportunities happening. I think I'm gonna have a character that does that now that you said that. Somebody just be mumble under their breath was like, I don't want to grow. I just want to be a jerk.
I don't like you. I could be home asleep.
You're over here making me live my best life.
Stop complaining. We're in Tahiti. I could be asleep in Tahiti. I don't need to be sitting here and no book signing.
Speaking of Tahiti.
Yes.
It's a magical place. A lot of us already know that. A lot of us already know that. If you're familiar with the MCU, you know that Tahiti is a magical place. But did you know that it was a resort in Tirashi? Yes, my supernatural sometimes need a vacay. And they go to Tahiti in Tirashi. It's an all-encompassing resort that has everything you can want, and you can run free with your magic. Yay. So, locales within your world. So this is a world building question. What locales do you have that are unique to your world?
All of them.
Okay, I asked that question incorrectly. My bad. What locales would you consider yourself unusual to your world? Do you have any unusual ones? I mean, because it seems like everyone has your standard. You went to the land of the fairies, or you went to the supernatural world, whatever they call it. So I would say, just in general, if you have that, everybody's got that.
Beyond the
So
Veil.
Beyond the Veil. Okay, so you call yours Beyond the Veil. And what
Beyond the Veil is where in Tempered and
okay.
Ed Lucky Sanguis. And there the fairies, the Fae have moved to Beyond the Veil when the Unseelie King was coming into power.
Mm-hmm.
And now that one of the Unseelie princes is running amok,
Mm-hmm.
they are deciding to come back from Beyond the Veil.
So
Like
what's Beyond the Veil?
Like they're coming out of hiding.
I mean, what's Beyond the Veil?
They have their own like elven kingdom.
Oh, so it's a full-on world.
Mm-hmm.
Any rules? In geography?
No, not. I really didn't get into it. I didn't get into a lot of the rules and whatnot. The queen is top dog. Her will is what happens. There is a
so it's a matriarchy society, matriarchal society.
Yeah, there is a. I forgot exactly what I called it, but there is a healing water that it when it heals your wounds, it also makes you forget stuff.
Oh shoot.
So for a little bit, Gus did not know who Elijah was. She did not know anything about the world, her life before that.
How long did that last?
That lasted for a little while because she kept digging. Gus is the type of is the personality type that she knows something's wrong.
No, I mean like standard. What's the amount of? Does it like take your memory forever, or is it temporary?
It can. It can take your it can take your memory forever, or the queen can bestow can give you back your memories.
Okay, that's like that's definitely one of those Greeks bearing gifts except for with fairies kind of deal.
Yeah. Gus's mother was sent to those waters at one point, and she forgot she had a husband and 2 kids. And when she was about to give herself an aneurysm, that is when the queen gave her memories back. And the friendship between Gus's mother and the queen have never been the same. Gus does not like her. She's willing to give her mother a chance because she realizes that was an extenuating circumstance. Gus's sister Mel is totally not, because of other reasons. Yeah, so
so there's a magical water. What's
that?
What's the water called? Do you have a name for it?
I don't remember.
Okay, so that's interesting with the water. And so you got Beyond the Veil in that series, and then you got that special water that heals you and then takes your mind or your memory. What else is in there? Well, you say you didn't build out a lot. Do you have anything else in there?
Not really.
For world building? So then you have a lot of opportunity as you build out that series then.
Yeah.
What kind of stuff do you think you will add, just in general? I mean, do you expect to have a lot of action and story take place there since you actually have a kingdom that's live? Okay.
No, most of it's going to take place in the main world. I can't say the real world because, even then, the way I have it set up is that, gargoyles are ruling everything. Humans have very, very little power. The president, there is a human president of various countries, but real talk, everything's ruled by sectors.
Okay, very integrated society.
So Tempered,
your world is open then.
Yeah. Tempered takes place in basically Canada.
Oh.
Because the North Sector is Canada. Dominic, the controlling gargoyle of this area. he has 4 sectors: north, south, east, and west. The north sector is Canada. He has all of the United States and Canada as his domain. The southern sector is where Crystallized takes place, and that line is like Texas, Louisiana, that sort of thing.
The Louisiana
Mexico,
Purchase.
yeah, Mexico. The line between like Texas and Mexico and New Mexico and whatnot. Some of that is talked about in Tempered, because the southern sector is where Gus and Mel are originally from.
So there is no actual United States; it's just sectors.
Yeah, it's just everything is just broken up into sectors.
Alternative world.
Like if they say the United States, they know it's one of Dominic's sectors. If they say, "Oh, it's down in Texas," oh, you mean the South sector.
But everybody knows that non-belief is the law.
Yeah. They know that the Chevalier and Dominic are the ones that have the final say.
Oh, okay. So that's interesting, because you have an open world, so yeah, I would imagine you wouldn't spend a lot of time with your supernatural world, because why?
Yeah.
For me, most of my stories that I have it's a closed world where the supernatural is not known by all. I have what I call the natural world and then the supernatural. And I actually call the supernatural world Tiroshi. And that place is basically an alternate dimension. So essentially, it is as large as the universe. And the thing.
And this was all crafted pre-Doctor Strange.
It was, though. It was. I did not get the multiverse from them. They got it from me. No, I'm just playing. Anyway,
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
So, in Tiroshi, it's a will-based dimension where if you can dream it and imagine it, it can happen. And so, if you're powerful enough and not have enough will, you can actually have a domain of your own that you sustain with your will. And so
Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps.
Yeah, you gotta do some Green Lantern action. You're right on that, but more, because they have a construct in Green Lantern for like, I don't know, a minute or two.
Yeah,
we're talking about you have to sustain a world, especially something like Tahiti, which I said is a magical resort. So the character that I have, he sustains Tahiti with his will completely. He can leave that place because there's enough people who live there that he can leave it for small amounts of time to like maybe go to the supernatural world to like attend a wedding, but he pretty much lives there. So yeah, he's sustaining in will. And the other day I was writing a story where I actually had. Okay, so I gotta tell you this a little bit too, so you understand what I'm talking about. All right, so I have gnomes in my story. They're a type of supernatural life form, and gnomes are about the size of a Barbie doll. They can change their size. The stronger and more powerful the gnome, which is probably the older the gnome, the longer they can stay human size, so to speak, whatever that means. And what they do is they will have a relationship called a covenant with someone that they have as a sentinel. The sentinel agrees to provide shelter and protection for the gnome colony. In exchange for that, the gnome colony will take care of everything else. They'll take care of basic human burglars. They will be like your assistant. They'll help run your business. They'll run your house. They'll be your housekeepers and do all that stuff for you. It's like roommates, but not, and they will know everything about you. There are no secrets with the gnomes. And what they try to do, they know everything about their sentinel. The leader in the sentinel, the leader is the, obviously the leader of the gnome colony. And the sentinel, they have a special relationship where what happens is they kind of sync up personality wise. So a gnome leader is going to seek out a powerful sentinel whom they can quote unquote get along with, because you're gonna be living with them. So you're gonna want somebody that you're kind of like. So they're gonna look for someone powerful that personality wise is kind of close. And then as time goes on, they're gonna become more like each other. So it's not uncommon for a leader to dress similar and have other mannerisms similar to the sentinel. And so I was writing this scene in Tahiti for a book that I got coming out soon, where a gnome from one colony was vacationing there, and a gnome from the Tahitian colony was there, and they were bragging on whose sentinel was more powerful. And they were talking about how the one from the Tahitian colony was talking about how their sentinel could maintain this whole domain, Tahiti, all by themselves, and Tahiti is like 120 miles wide. And she's thinking to herself, the other gnome, that's cute and all, except for my sentinel is the Goblin King, and that's 1/3 of his area, his kingdom. But she didn't say anything because she wanted to be polite. And so having little things like that to build on top of my world kind of makes it, I notice, casual instead of more like, oh, I just constructed this thing for this moment right here, and look at me because I just made this thing. It gives it more, it makes it less artificial, I think, when you have concepts and things like that, and then you use them over again. I think it just adds validity to the world. Because if anyone ever reads any of my books, you will see Tirashi in the Love, Sex, and Magic series.
I was about to say in almost all of them.
Yes, the Paris in Springtime and the Love, Sex, and Magic series, you'll see Tirashi. If I don't call it Tirashi, it may be because that character in the book might be less knowledgeable of the supernatural, because that's one of the things that I do is my world is very intense. It is vast and a lot of details. And of course, just like everything else that happens in life, not all people are clued in to the same level. So even though a person may be a mage and has supernatural powers and knows the supernatural exists, maybe they went to public school and didn't go to magic school. So they know more about natural life than they do supernatural life, because, they're passing out in the street, So sometimes in my books, I will just kind of scale back on that, because and kind of let them learn things sometimes. And then sometimes I just scale it back so that the reader's not always overwhelmed with details, because all of these stories are also standalone. And so sometimes it can be a lot, me explaining the whole entire thing every single time. It all depends on if the character needs it. And so I think that's also very real too, because, we all live, well, you live in another state from me.
Yeah.
And we don't know what's happening 2 miles down the road. We don't. Shoot, I don't even know what's happening in the house next door to me.
I do renovations.
Okay, so
renovations. My neighbor is moving.
There you go. So there are renovations in that house. What about the house on the other side? Are they talking?
No, they ain't talking.
Are they in love? I mean, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think to me, that's a cool concept, and that's one of the things that I've done with those two series is they take place in the same city. They have the same world, but they have completely different things going on. And I hope I'm conveying that it's in the same world, but a different story.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you have one thing that I'm dealing with right now is I don't remember if I spoke about Sin's Entertainment too much last time.
Uh, that was some time ago. I'm just saying.
Okay, so basically, quick recap. Quick, not so quick recap. Since I decided to fall into this rabbit hole of K-pop, I didn't decide to fall in there. Wonho grabbed me by the throat and was just like, "Come here."
He said, "Keep an open mind." That's what he said.
Yeah, it's bad. So falling down this rabbit hole, I decided to, and I also started speaking with other authors and everything. One thing that is becoming very popular are books that are listed as AMBW, which is Asian male, black female, black woman. And so I was like, okay, how can I go with this? And then I saw a couple of books that are K-pop oriented, where the male is a K-pop idol, and the female is a black female and is doing something around this artist in some way, shape, or form. So I'm like, okay, this would be pretty cool. And I'm sitting there watching videos and watching videos and watching videos. And I started learning a little bit more about the industry and what some of the companies have done to other artists in the past. And I'm like, this is all really interesting. So I decided to create a series. And I wanted to have a male K-pop group in it because, that's what I am basically surrounded by at this point in time. Here's looking at you, Monsta X, BTS, Wonho, NCT, Wavy, and all other iterations. Victon, and yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, how am I going to bring in a group of Black women to be around these idols and kind of make it interesting, new, use the information that I have and twist it so that it's different and people would be like, oh my God.
And
then this happened. I decided the macaroni heathen can do that voice way better than I can.
And then
so then Dynasty was created. I decided to create a K-pop group of Black females to coincide with the male group. From its original iteration, a few things have changed, but it's still pretty much coming along the way that, it is. One thing that I have to be careful with are some of the customs of Korea, because I am not in South Korea.
Right.
I've never been to South Korea.
Right.
So it's like one thing that I'm a little like concerned with is, of all things, selkas.
What's a selka?
That's what they call selfies over in Korea.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why are you worried about that?
Because there's nowhere where I can say where they talk about a selka. Basically, you would have to figure it out with context clues. Because the people around, the person's head that I'm in already knows what a Selka is. So yeah.
All you gotta do is say, "Can you take a selfie with me?"
And
then none of the fans ever ask, "Can you take a selfie with me?" And then they press cheeks together, and then we'll all know what that is. They hold the camera up and press cheeks together.
Well, there's no opportunity for that.
Oh, well then you just know that's not even a.
I'm just like they do take like at one point.
You can't cram it all in. There are other books.
I know. Right now I am sitting on and editing 2 books of this series, which I'm very excited for. The next book is going to be a hard book. It's going to be a hard book because it's going to be Kat's book. And yeah, she goes through a lot. She has gone through a lot in her life.
Maybe she'll get to take a selka.
Yeah, she'll figure out what a selka is. Sana will tell her what a selka is.
I think she knows what it is. I'm talking about they can take a picture.
But no, Dejin calls it selka mode. Like when he's about to take a selfie with Sana, and he says that he switches his camera into selka mode.
So you have used it, but you just want to explain it to people. Is that what it is? You just want to explain it to people, but you haven't.
Because I have no place to explain it.
They don't need no explanation for that. Y'all, this is your explanation right here. She don't need to explain. I'm sure y'all can figure out with context clues. Ooh, don't be explaining everything. I think that
bad enough. It was bad enough trying to explain the Opa, Uni, Nuna, Oma.
Now that I can understand.
That conversation, that was a lot easier because Sana was called all of these things, and except for Opa, she's not a guy.
Obviously, yeah, that I can understand. But Aselka, they don't need to be explained. I'm sure at some point you'll get the joy of somebody so new. You'll be like, "What's Aselka?" Because I'm still working on my Korean character, and then you get the joy of saying it then of what Aselka is. But I don't think people need that explanation. You might have that one person who does, and that book is coming for you, whoever you are. But I think the majority of people are going to be okay.
That'll be the 1-star review. I don't know what this is.
Right. I would tell you, and that's one thing too, I will say, when you start writing about other cultures, and I'm not talking about, even cultures within the United States, such as writing interracial and whatnot, you get a little bit of hate when you start outlining these differences, which is annoying, but I kind of move on from that. But I will tell you, it gets a little bit extra when you start dropping foreign words and words in other languages for people. All of a sudden, people can't pick up on context clues, even if you translate what was said. Or if you have the person say it in one language and the person answers in English, they feel like they needed to know what was said. Well, you saw what the answer was. If someone says like "Cómo estás" and you don't know what "Cómo estás" means, which for everyone who doesn't know means "How are you?" If someone says "I'm fine, thank you," "How are you?" and they said that in English, clearly "Cómo estás" meant probably. Fairly certain critical thinking would say that "Cómo estás?"
Do you want to go have dinner with me?
Yeah, it doesn't mean you want to date me. I mean, yeah, it's nothing like that. Now, can people do stuff like that in a book? They sure could. They could say something weird, like someone could say something like maybe someone throws an insult at someone and they answer with a "Merry Christmas." But I think you can also figure out that was especially if it said sarcastically or some
I was
other
about
kind
to say,
of like,
usually when I see something like that, it's all done in the same language and it's sarcasm.
right. It's not too often that an author is going to literally confuse people with a phrase and then have the answer in English or context clues something completely different, unless they actually don't know that language to begin with and they just randomly wrote some stuff, which at that point, you probably know what it means because you probably knew that they wrote gibberish.
Yeah.
So I do think it's interesting that some people just get upset by that because it's like you're trying to sell it. If you're gonna, yeah, I feel like you're trying to sell the complete experience, and part of the world is to have, in your case, some Korean. In my case,
I tried to tone it down.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Because I tried to tone it down because of the words oppa and hyung.
Mm-hmm.
Because it got too much.
I can see that a lot of people are not used to honorifics.
Because the honorifics, it's like everybody has an honorific. And it's like, oh my God. Especially with Promised Eternity. Sana grew up in Korea. And she is part of this group. She's not part of the group, but they are kind of like her found family because her brother is part of this group. So she has her older brother, JJ, which she calls Oppa, her best friend, Sanguk, which she was calling Sang Oppa. Daejun, she was supposed to call Oppa, but she refuses to call Oppa, which is something that I explained in the book.
Right.
Technically, she's supposed to be calling Kwan Oppa because he is older than she is. But because they were all her, Kwan, Sana, and Jiho were all born in the same year, Kwan and Jiho, well, Jiho will call Kwan Hyung. Kwan will also call everyone older than him Hyung. All of the other guys call everyone older than them Hyung. It got too much.
Yeah, and that's one of the things too. Because even though this is a real world, you're still constructing something that's supposed to be palatable for your audience. But at the same time, you got to be as respectful as possible while you're making it palatable for your audience.
Yes, because it's actually kind of funny where I'm sitting there typing and one of my little programs comes up and says, now there is a character that is introduced towards the end, Mr. Old Man Lee. And that's also another thing that I have not touched on yet. And that is going to be so cleansing when I get a chance to sit back and say it. Because in Korea, there are so many people with the same last name and they're not related. And I think
there's so many people with the same last name in the US ain't related either.
But no, okay.
That's funny.
In this book series, I think I have like 4 Lees.
At
least 3 Kings.
You got some Pops?
Kims. I have one Pop. I have one Pop. So far, I only have one Pop. Yes.
You should have like 50 of them.
No, Kim. From my research, I could be wrong, but from my research, Kim and Lee are the biggest ones.
I'm gonna take your word for it because Tia from there. She ain't from there. I'm gonna take your word for it.
Lee comes in at 1. Lee is 1. Kim is 2. Pak is 3. So there
Pock.
will be more pox later on. It's just that the character that came in as Pock, we don't like her at the moment right now.
Oh, is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to demonize Pock?
Jimin did it first.
Oh,
He ain't have to look like that.
girl, move on.
And all of these reactions, I got to find a way that I'm doing. I got to find a way to put in there. I really do.
So, for everyone who reads the book, hopefully you can feel the love when you read it.
Yes, because Promised Eternity is coming out September 3rd. Print copies will be available sooner. Just not quite sure exactly which day. I got to work on formatting that.
Right.
I do have an idea to like switch it up a little bit. Kind of going along with the CD repackaging concept.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas taking the images and whatnot that I have, well, I don't have that many images, but redoing the cover almost exactly the way it is for the ebook, but switching the colors.
Oh, okay.
So that the background would be blue and the writing would be in black for the print books.
Oh, okay.
And then the ebook has the black and the blue writing.
Okay.
Because that's albums and whatnot are all repackaged and whatnot.
I think that's cool. I think it's gonna
All
look
the
weird on
time.
Amazon though.
What'd you say?
I think it's gonna be a little bit weird on Amazon.
Not really, because remember that one book that we were looking at? Chick had a totally different paperback cover than she did ebook.
Oh, well then you'll be fine then. I was thinking it showed both at the same time.
No.
That's what I was thinking it did. Because I had one that was acting funky like that, and I was like, maybe that was just an error.
Possible.
Well, then you're gonna be good though. I think people might have some fun with that then.
I'm having fun with
it. Absolutely.
Okay, so talking about crafting and story building and everything, we have gone over that. We have been going now for just about an hour. So our time is pretty much almost up. Do you have any last words?
I will say that when you're crafting your story and even when you're crafting your characters, don't be afraid to try something new, and don't be afraid to just, toss out a concept, because what ends up happening is the more you use it, the more real it becomes, not only to you, but to your characters and therefore to your reader. I mean, when I first came up with Tirashi, for example, that sounds so whack. I was like, oh, I just made up this thing because I treated it like a construct. But as I started putting more rules in place and having more locales and geography in it, it became more real. And so I was able to use it with the characters. And so now it just seems natural that they talk about Tirashi, and that and everyone has I don't want to say a same experience, but there is an experience that that the reader can expect with Tirashi that is
magical.
That's magical. I mean, yeah. So that's what I would say.
Okay. And I would say, especially when it comes to crafting your characters, always ask the question why.
Oh yes, I can see that. Why do they do what they do?
Right.
What caused it?
Yeah. And because I want to say it was Brandon Sanderson that had the but and then when they were talking about outlining.
Mm-hmm.
But then this happened, so this happened, and then this happened, but this happened. Like that sort of construct. for plotting, whereas my thoughts for character building is always why. Why would this person do this? What drove them to that? Why did this happen? And you
It makes
dig
it more real.
deeper.
You're right. Because
Yeah,
everybody
and
does
you
stuff
dig
for a reason.
right. There's always a reason behind everything except for we're bad guys. It's what we do.
No, they got reasons too.
That was a quote from Suicide Squad.
I know. But they had reasons too.
Yeah. They didn't want to say, but no.
She did that to be obnoxious. That's what I heard.
Okay, she did that to be obnoxious. I'm saying this because
a lot of people write like that.
A lot of people write like that. I legit read a book where a character was doing some very alpha hole-ish things. And his reasoning behind it was, we're demons, it's what we do.
Why? See, I listen to you. No, you know what? It would be fun if someone said that and they said, we're demons, that's what we do because we don't have free will. Now that would be interesting. So who's in charge of you?
You're entering Legacy of Kain territory now.
I know, but you see what I'm saying? Because now that becomes interesting on a different level. You're stuck in this like box of behaviors and that you are defined by that you can't get out of and escape because you don't really have free will. You operate almost like AI. So I would like to know who's pulling your strings.
Yeah, who's the puppet master behind all of this? And
yeah, so that would be a good story.
Why are they making you do this?
So you can do that if you want to, as long as you toss in that other line. You don't have free will.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because free will is super tough. It's super tough.
To quote one of my favorite vampire overlords, free will is but an illusion.
I don't believe that to be true. Free will is hard work, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, honestly, Kain is one of the better anti-heroes in video game history. He's one of the best ones. That is the hill I will that is the hill I will stand on.
Okay. I mean, he was a good character, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was the best. I'll have to think about it. But he was a good character.
He was one of the best anti-heroes.
He was a good character. He was definitely good. I had to think about it because I'll have to think about it.
Look, we are ignoring Blood Omen 2. That book, that game goes into the same box as Highlander 2 and Tokyo Drift. They just don't exist. They don't exist.
Wow. Okay.
Don't exist.
The Quickening.
Yeah. Don't exist. Don't exist.
Anyway, what are we talking about next week?
I have no clue. I have been watching Sailor Moon Eternal.
I have not. I've been watching D. Gray Man. Do you know what? Oh, there was a point about D. Gray Man I wanted to bring up. It was about character development, and it gets into that why that I'm gonna throw out real quick. There was a character in there, and I like this, and this is very multiverse kind of thing. But there was a character who had the ability to see into the future. I don't know, a couple minutes at a time, a couple seconds at a time, and she saw a future where she's standing in like in an exorcist uniform, and everyone around her is dead, and she's just crying, right? So because she saw that, she panics and throws her crystal ball into the lake and causes all this drama. She didn't realize she was causing drama. So when the exorcists come to town, they find out that all about the fact that she is what is called an accommodator in this world, which means she's a person who can become an exorcist, and that her power is clairvoyance. So she, they go and they get the crystal ball. They have a battle, and they convince her to become an exorcist. And so, on the journey to the headquarters of the exorcist, she is attacked. They're attacked, and unfortunately, they're overwhelmed. And her crystal ball is broken, and she's no longer able to see into the future and become an exorcist. So that future that she saw will never come to be. And so, yes, you see where I'm going with? So she was afraid. And because she's afraid, she went from being able to take control of her destiny and be a freedom fighter of sorts. To now having to live the rest of her life as a regular person. She's no safer in either way. But now she went from a place of control to a place of not control. And I was thinking to myself, that's pretty powerful, because if she hadn't run from her destiny, how many lives could she have saved? Or did she just save all their lives by punking out? We will never know. Because when she saw that vision, she was older. I want to say at least 4 years, like 4 years older or something like that. So who knows? For all I know, especially since she had clairvoyance too, she could have reduced that. I mean, they spent some time trying to get her based upon that vision. But just think about that though. Did she just save everyone? Or did she just And we'll never know. And I thought that was just cool plot point.
Yeah, because usually when we see stuff like that, it's the self-fulfilling prophecy.
Right.
So, yeah.
And so she actually avoided the destiny that she saw. But now she has to live with the fact that she's a regular person and can't help them. So it's like, did her mental health get better?
Probably not.
That's what I'm saying. For all I know, this girl basically has a mental breakdown because she's a regular person, and then she just dies a year later, or she just lives a sad life. Maybe she gets better and she lives a regular life until demons kill her. I don't know. Because like I said, in this world, for those who don't know, she's no safer for being a regular person. If anything, I would want to be the clairvoyant so I can at least fight. And then be around other people who can help me versus la 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 murder.
Okay, so that is what we will end on, because it's now 8:20. And we will be back next week with a new topic.
Once we figure out what it is.
Once we figure out what it is, we'll be back with a new topic. And until then, we will see you later. Bye.
Bye.